Next up, we got Maze OZ. Let's go. Hard. Snap.
I love that laugh. Hold on. I love this hard. Hold on, wait, no, I love this. Oh, this is hard.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Nah, that's hard. First place. Hold on. I low-key want this beat. I ain't gonna lie.
That's the biggest W you can get. That is the biggest W you can get. My claps aren't working. Let's go.
I ain't gonna lie. That junk go crazy. I ain't gonna slide in my DMs.
Send it in the DMs. Maze OZ,
Slide.
send it in the DMs. Send it,
Slide.
send it, send it.
My name is Mezozi, and today I'm going to break down how I made the beat for Kenny Beats for the beat battle. This is what the drums sound like. Now the reason I chose these drums is because they're really bouncy and groovy. They sound really snappy. I knew that it would be easier to build my track on top of a really solid foundation. In this specific sample, I have a really good sounding bass. I think around this area. Just that growly sound. I dragged that sample into a simpler, and I found that specific area, no pitching, no transposing, nothing, sounds like this. I took it down 1 octave. I put it in a pattern while the drums were playing so I could get like a solid groove, and this is what I ended up with. With the drums, it sounds like this. Another thing I added to that specific layer is a Fat Filter Pro Q3. I took down a little bit of the lows and a little bit of the highs. The reason I took down this specific area is because usually that's the foundation of the kick, between 50 hertz and 80 hertz. And I also took down at around 2300 hertz. The reason for that is because I heard some disgusting frequencies that I wanted to get rid of, and that's why I did that. The second thing I took from the sample was the lead. I took that specific sound, I dragged it into a new channel. I went to the warping mode, and I changed the warping to the 1 arrow going to the right. I clicked on that, and I took the 100 down to 60. The more you take it down, the more you hear the transients. And I transposed it up by 2. After manipulating it, that's what it sounds like. So after I did that, I added an RC20 with no noise, a little bit of wobble, a little bit of distortion, no digital, space, which gives it that spacey sound. Together with the drums, it sounds like this. Amazing. The last thing I took from the sample was that sound. It's all those crunchy sounds in the beginning that sound like this. The percussions are from the count. And I have another clap and another clap from the count as well. This is the percussive channel. So you can see that I chopped it up a little bit. I like making some big chops to define the bounce, to define the groove. I played with the timing alongside with the drums until it sounded bouncy enough for me. We have another supporting element of 2 claps placed strategically in areas that help the bounce. Listen to what they sound like. Another percussive element that we have is a percussion loop, also from the count. We have 2 loops. I used automation to make it go from left to right, and then once it gets to the right, it goes back to the left. Same applies to the other loop, and then it sounds like this. In this specific area, I wanted to put most of my focus on the 2 loops going from left to right, and then somewhere in the middle, the percussive track joins, and this is what it sounds like together. Let's talk about my favorite thing, which is ear candy. Now, ear candy is a way to keep the listener engaged with the use of random sounds. This is our ear candy for this beat. Okay, let's go through them. We have this shout right here before the main beat drop is happening. We have a chant of a girl saying bitch. And it really goes along with the rhythm. Listen to it. And I found this to be really, really helpful. If something doesn't go by your beat, go into that channel, go into the warp mode and play with the sliders until it fits. I did not have to play with the warp settings, but it worked wonderfully. Let's talk about this sound right here that I sampled. I took my recorder, my Zoom H5 recorder. I went around the house. I took a screwdriver and I slid it across a fence. I put an echo boy on it, and this is the sound I got. We have this laugh right here that's warped. I want you to notice that I'm using the ear candy only in areas that are less busy in the beat because I really want them to get through. I want them to be heard. So that's the reason I chose to use that laugh in that specific quiet area. Really helps the bounce. Here in this area, I have another laugh, evil laugh. Here we also have a bell, a church bell, because I wanted people to feel like this was the main drop. Let's listen to the beginning of the beat without the ear candy, and then we'll listen to it with the ear candy. You'll tell me if you hear a difference. Now let's listen with the ear candy that we have. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is this really cool parallel trick that I learned from Alex Tumay. It's built from a FabFilter Pro Q, which is cutting all the lows, and then you have a saturator or a decapitator. Feel free to use any other saturating plugin. The settings on this one are really going to the extreme, going to 6. Punish is on. The setting is set on E, which is, I think, a little bit of a brighter tone, and the mix is all the way up. After that, we have an Ozone imager that pretty much makes the sound stereo. With this parallel chain, I can make stuff sound more upfront in the mix in a really, really quick way, without, of course, mudding out the lows. So let's check the drums with and without this parallel chain. And this is with. Another thing we have this chain on is on the sample. This is the sample without the parallel chain. And this is with. And that's it. Let me play you the whole thing. And thank you so much for watching this breakdown. I really hope you learned something from this.